Dear viewers, my sweet darlings, I would have words with you about your nightly comings and goings, and I'll have you know that it isn't kind to go into the dreams of your favorite YouTubers and incept them with thoughts of the characters you would like them to play. I'm actually not joking. I woke up this morning in a cold sweat and had this crystal clear thought, like a diamond bullet in my forehead, that I needed to learn about Lei Long, a character that I've been completely uninterested in for as long as I've been playing Tekken. I know basically nothing about this character except for his reputation of having the largest move list and basically more stances than any or all of the other characters put together. So very complex, very difficult to get into, but I just had this feeling that I really wanted to start to explore him. So about an hour ago, I sat down with my morning coffee and I went online to see if there were any good resources on learning him. There's not that much stuff out there. I guess he's not a very popular character. I mean, he's very beloved. People obviously wanted him in the game, just not enough to actually play him. But I found a really cool YouTube channel that I want to shout out quick. His name is All Times and then ZZC. So All Times and 3 Z's as one word. And he just has a cool YouTube channel where he does like matches and stuff, tech with Lei. He's obviously a talented player who really loves this character. So I guess he's the guy to go for if you want to see what this character can do. But I also found this written guide for Season 3. That's like super long and detailed on the Tekken Reddit. I don't know if it has a specific author or if it was a collaborative effort. But if you know who wrote this, then let me know because I obviously want to give them credit. So I've just been sitting here. I mean, what a great day. You wake up, you have, a nice cup of coffee and you're in practice mode learning new things in Tekken. It's so great that after years of playing this game, you can find yourself tumbling like Alice down a rabbit hole you didn't even know existed. But I thought if I'm going to sit here learning about this character anyway, I might as well turn on the microphone and maybe we could do it together. So in this video, I don't have like a script or a thesis statement I'm trying to make. It's just kind of me hanging out and learning about a new character. And if you think that sounds reasonably enjoyable, then definitely feel free to stick around. So what I've looked at so far is basically block punishment. And I have to say that in that department, I feel like he is below average. But it also doesn't feel like something he's meant to specialize in. And a lot of the great moves that are listed as his punishers, I think are just extremely good for other things, other than block punishment. But for 10 frames, I really like this 1-1 forward into Snake. You get +6 in Snake. I don't know if Snake is like a great mix-up stance. I don't even know about all the different stances yet. But if it turns out that +6 in Snake is a good mix-up opportunity, then I like this Punisher. The one jab by itself has really decent range, which is great when you're a traumatized Miguel player, The other options he has like a 2-1, and the range on this 2-1 is kind of crappy, so I don't love that about it. But then again, the second hit is mid, so it's like a great poke string. There's a lot of safety when you have a mid on the second hit of a jab string if people are, crushing stuff and, rolling around on the floor. And then you have a 1-2 as well, super basic, 19 damage. But I think the 19 in Snake right here is probably the best option, unless Snake is like really bad for some reason. Moving up to 12, you have, okay, so I mentioned 2-1 being kind of crappy for range. If you press forward with this move, you get increased range and 1 point more damage on it. So it starts getting good range, as you can see right here. But it also starts impacting at 12 frames instead of 10. So this is like a weird property where you can extend the range of some moves in Tekken with holding forward. I don't think it's very common on the new, very simplified Tekken 7 original characters. So this is basically your 12 frame as far as I can tell, and I don't think it's very good. Low damage. The range is good, but it also has this thing where, like right there, the pushback on the first hit can cause the second one to whiff. Very poor quality of life thing. Typically something that Namco tend to sort of patch out and look at when they change characters. Maybe they haven't gotten to lay it, or maybe it's some unique property of Jin's hitbox here. You can see the hand goes straight into that gap between his elbow and leg. So maybe it's a matchup thing. Who knows? But I think it's kind of crappy if you consider all the great 12 frames in the game. Bob, Lars, 30 plus damage and knockdowns and wall splats. And all you get is this. But again, I think it's a great little poke string. Good range, high mid. It's decent. Safe on block. then I want to get to all of these different weird moves I found. Like, I knew that this character was weird, but when you get into his frame data, it's like Lovecraftian level strange. I'm almost expecting this character to sprout tentacles and start whispering horrible secrets from deep space, you know? But I want to get to another 12 frame move now. I think this might be one of the best mid pokes in the entire game that I know of, at least. So he has a fish hook, right? 12 frames. And when you have a fish hook like this for 12, it's so fast. I mean, it's faster than basically any other mid, that they tend to have like crappy frame data, so minus, 6, 7, 8, 9 on block. This is minus 4, and it's plus 7 on hit, which is basically the frame data you see on a decent down forward one. But this is 1 frame faster than a 13 frame down forward one, and it has more range. So I think this is just a standout powerful mid poke. What a fantastic move. Really interesting. And to prove my point that it has similar frame data to a down forward one, it has the exact same frame data as Lei's down forward one, minus 4 plus 7. So we're moving up to 13 now with the down forward one, and I think this move is kind of crappy. I'm not in love with it. I think the range is pretty bad, and you only get... The high extension here, down forward 1-1, is natural for 25, which is kind of low damage. You only get plus 2. It doesn't jail. The second hit I checked is duckable. And then you have the delayable final one here that you can use for like cheeky wall splats and counter hits, I guess. This really reminds me of the down forward 1 string from Miguel, which isn't a very good string. Miguel has to use it. He's kind of confined to it, but I don't think it's great, to be honest. And this is like a worse version of that because you have less range and fewer options. So not a great string. But then again, who cares about your crappy down forward one when your fish hook is like unbelievably fantastic, right? The only other Punisher that they've listed for 13 is forward neutral 4-1-2. And this is where we have to talk about the fact that you have a missed step with this character. One of the reasons I've never wanted to try him before, because I find it kind of awkward how you have a movement option that happens not when you press a button, but when you let go. So this is forward neutral, right? But if it's, if you play the character a lot, I'm assuming you get used to that really quite quickly. So he has this option, forward neutral 4-1-2. That's natural for 38, really quite good, but then again, it feels super clunky for a Punisher. It even says here in this guide, impractical. The misstep 4 by itself is 10 frames to impact, so I'm guessing it says 13 because you have to factor in the animation frames of the startup of the actual misstep. But yeah, so like from 10 to 13, there isn't really anything that great in terms of punishment. But then we get up to 14, and things get pretty funky because you have this, again, really strange string, 3-3. This is like, first of all, natural high-low string, which I can't remember seeing before in Tekken. It looks like 47, which is more than 3 times that. The damage on this thing is enormous, and I guess they just really wanted to give him something powerful for 14, and they just decided to make it this string. But the 3 is actually kind of great. Long range, high damage. I mean, it's 30 in a single hit, Massive. I think this is a spin move. I don't know about his combos, really. I haven't tried them yet, but I think this is what you use when you do, like, the Cyclone Kick max damage combos. Kind of like that, yeah. That makes sense. But yeah, so you have this massive thing for 14. This is great. Then again, if I was Zafina right now, I would do down forward 3-4. I would do 49 or 50 damage with a knockdown and really great Oki. So it's not like this is the most powerful 14 frame move or Punisher in the game, but this is really good. I guess this is what you use for like quick whiffs or to kill rage arts on block and stuff like that. Okay, and then for 15 you actually do get launchers. You have the 2 main classics for 15. Upward 4 hop kick, down forward 2 uppercut. The hop kick I think seems kind of crappy in terms of range, right? Really short range, but maybe that doesn't matter, If you have a hard read on a low poke and you want to neutralize throws as an added benefit, it's always great to have a hop kick. I mean, Zafina's is crappy, slow to impact, and I get tons of mileage out of it, just, as long as you use it with a hard read, I think it's also made up for by the fact that the down 4-2 actually seems pretty good. It's one of those great down 4-2s where the... it's safe on block, but it doesn't launch crouchers. So you can't use it for mix-ups with a low, but you can use it for like keep out and a fast mid, poke that gives a launch, more or less. So it's great. I mean, just think about all the mileage these great Shaheen players get off of their version of this move, It's potentially very powerful, and I think the range seems to be better than the hop kick. So, good stuff. And then for pushback moves, it seems that the recommended option is forward 3-1. This has massive range, right? So you could use this for pushback moves, but it's also great that it's 16 to impact, because a lot of those pesky pushback moves are like minus 17 or 18. So you even have a little bit of leeway. You're going to be kind of snug and cozy when you punish it with this move, which I think is great. I mean, when you're looking at a Death Fist with a massive amount of pushback, when it hits right, it's about that kind of a range, and you can still get this. But I also found that it has a similar problem to the 4-2-1, where the pushback on the first hit here can cause the second hit to whiff, like that. I hate that about it, but apart from that, I mean, I think it's going to do you solid most of the time. And then for while standing, we're about to get into like one of the strangest block punishers I've ever seen in this game. I'd heard stories, but I didn't realize just how weird it was. But let's go through the normal stuff first that I found. So you have an 11 frame while standing for. This is, 15 damage, plus 7, safe on block. Exactly what you would expect to see for like a below average while standing for. Then you get nothing really for 13, 12 or 13. For 14 you get this. I think it's crappy. Again, it's like great for other things because it's like a safe on block mid this while standing 2-1. I just don't think it's great for a 14 frame Punisher. I mean, a lot of characters are doing full combos at that point. This doesn't even knock down, For 15, excuse me, you don't get a launcher, so you have to do hop kicks, which you can do. And in case you didn't know, if you're playing a character with a hop kick and you want to launch from crouch, because up forward inputs in Tekken cancel crouch, you can get your 15 frame hop kick from crouch. So if you're playing Miguel and you think that the damage off of while standing 2-4 is too low damage, if you're playing Josie and you think the while standing 2-1 combo is too difficult to do, you do have the option of just doing your hop kick. But then at 16 you do get a launcher while standing 3+4, and this does seem really good. Solid range, crush properties. This seems really quite great, so I like that about it. And let's get to the weird one that I wanted to talk about. Like, this is your while standing 3. Okay, so this is a 10 frame to impact while standing 3 that does 25 damage and is -5 on hit. And if you are like, if you know a lot about conventional frame data in Tekken, good luck wrapping your head around this. It's so strange. But it's potentially also really good. Like, what this means is basically anytime you ever block a punishable low with Lei, which is pretty much all of them, you can always get at the very least 25 damage, which is really quite massive. So it's pretty great, for those fast low pokes, down twos from Dragunov and stuff like that, frequently abused lows that you can't launch punish. But the problem is that you get -5 on hit, and if the opponent is knowledgeable about Lei's frame data, then they know that it's pretty much their turn to go, even after you hit with this. In Tekken, when you punish, you're usually like trying to use your advantage to keep on going and keep the offense chain going. But with this, you actually have to like punish and chill, which is kind of weird. I guess you still have the option of like moving after this, or you could do this into like a backswing blow, I guess, could be a half decent setup. But yeah, strange, super interesting, but also potentially really good. But moving on from block punishment, because like I say, I don't think that's the interesting part of this character. They have this section called preeminent moves, where they want to talk about like everything that's really special about this character, like the really standout moves. And some of them are really quite wild. So the first one they list is Razor Rush, and I think that's fair enough. This is a move that you know about if you've played against this character a lot, because the online Leis, they like to abuse this, So it's like a sequence of mids that comes out of your missed step, and then the mix-up at the end is you have this 4, which is a safe mid, and then you have a 3 that's a launch punishable low. What I didn't know, I knew that you could like step out of this for mix-ups, but I didn't know it has a really interesting thing where it's going to go into a different animal stance. He has like 5 animal stances, and those aren't even all his stances. Then he has like Phoenix and drunk stance and back turn and lay down back turn and sitting snake and all the rest of it. It's like insanity. I haven't even begun to wrap my head around it. But with the 5 animal stances that you have, he's going to sidestep into a different stance depending on how many hits of the Razor Rush you finished. So you do 1 hit and step, you get snake. You do 2 hits and step, you get, I think this is supposed to be dragon. And it's probably, I'm not an expert on like animal kung fu, obviously, but this seems like one of the more fun ones. You can really troll with this. If you do 3 steps, or 3 hits, you get, I think this is supposed to be Panther, another one of the cool ones. I like the fact that when you walk backwards with this, it's slow, but when you dash forwards, it's really quite quick. It feels, you know, feline in that sense, I guess. If you do 4 hits, he's going to turn into a tiger that really wants to grab your titties. And if you do the final hit of the mix-up and then step, you get Crane, which is the final animal stance. So I didn't know it worked that way, and it's just super interesting how his stances, it turns out, are actually tied to sidestepping. So the way this works is you have to think of the stances apparently as being on like a line of 5 points, with Snake being the central one. If you step left out of Snake, he's going to go into Dragon. If you keep going left, he's going to go to Tiger. If you step back right from Tiger, he's going to go through Dragon back to Snake. And you keep on going right, you get Panther and eventually Crane. So they have this really interesting relationship tied to the side steps. I've never seen anything like it in Tekken. It must have been a lot of work bringing him to the game in the first place, and, you know, balancing him for 7. But that's Razor Rush, great mix-up tool, something that I think takes a lot of use to get good with, because like you can see right here, your transitions aren't always that great. So it's kind of like it says in the guide too, you have to keep your opponent guessing as to how many hits of the Razor Rush you're actually going to do, and the fact that they hesitate based on that creates the hesitation and the sort of plastic advantage that allows you for the mix-up from the stances. So, and I can definitely see that working and being good. Okay, what else? Down back 4. Okay, here we go. So this is like a really interesting move that, you know, I knew about. Everybody knows about this because it's really good, but it's stranger than you might suppose. So you have the Falling Leaf, down for 4-4, massive knockdown low. And one cool thing about it is that you do not need to clean hit this or be close at all for the knockdown and the full damage to happen. You can do it from max range and it still works. If you don't finish the string, it doesn't do the knockdown, but if you do, you get the knockdown and the damage. Now, look at this. If I go really close to my opponent and I do the string as close as I can, I don't get a clean hit as long as I finish the string. If I do only the first hit when I'm close, I get a clean hit. So the clean hit property is exclusive when you only do the first part of the string. Really interesting. Now I know that some people do like combos after this, and you can get better damage than the 31 that you do here. Turns out that's tied to a transition into your drunk stance. The one thing I saw that you can do in a video is like, I think this is what you're supposed to do. Like, look at that. That's 45 damage and some decent corner carry. Super fun combo to do. I love this ender. It's so sexy and satisfying to do. I think you can actually get 50 here if you start doing like kind of wonky and unreliable stuff. But just the fact that it has like this weird clean hit thing, and you can get this damage. The fact, I mean, it impacts at 20 frames, right? So this is not, unless your opponent is like, you know, sharp like shark teeth, they're not gonna see this and react in time. So it's an unseeable low that leads to like massive stuff. So what a powerful mix-up tool. That really empowers your mids. Now, I was fucking around because I wanted to figure out, what do you mix this thing? What's like the go-to mid? The down 4-2 obviously doesn't work because it doesn't launch crouchers. And I don't know what you're supposed to do. But one thing I found that I love is this thing. I love up forward 3. So this is like one of those great safe on block hop kicks that only launches on counter hit. But that's fine because it means it only works when it has to, kind of, you know. Safe on block counter hit hop kicks are like great. It's like a great move archetype. There are many great moves in that category. And this thing gives you like massive stuff when you connect on counter hit. So I don't know how bad it is to be -2 and in Crane, which is what you get on block here, but it does say in some of the resources that I've read that that is a safe situation to be in, so I'm going to trust that. Super cool. So maybe that's a great mix-up tool. It does seem to have some half-decent range as well. I can see that being good. What else? I mean, he has so many weird and interesting moves, like forward 4. Check this thing out. So this is a massive counter hit launcher for 23 damage with this big instep and sort of crush properties. Now, if this gets blocked, you're minus 12, but you have this transition where you can go into this Razor Rush-esque string right here. If you just do the first hit of that like this, forward 4-2. Oh, I have to get used to this misstep. Oh, it's not the misstep, sorry, there we go. Forward 4-2 like this. It turns into plus minus 0 on block, so a lot of safety, but even if you do that, you're still completely able to do your combo. I don't know if that's a good combo. I was just improvising. That's what I see people do online. But I mean, it's 79 damage. So this thing is like potentially amazing. I love the safety on the mid here. Great stuff. Unless there is like a way to, you know, sneak out here that I don't know about. I guess Jin could probably parry, right? What else? I mean, if we're going to talk about movement a little bit, one of the really cool things about this character, again, super unique, is that he has his own method of backdashing and backtracking in the game that is potentially like better and more powerful than Korean backdash canceling. I can't think of a single other character that has something like that. Like every character you play, I guess including Lei, you're gonna like Korean backdash cancel, but you have a technique and an option here where you can do something else that works as good, if not better. They call it haha stepping in the guide. I used to refer to it as hobo backdash, but it involves pressing back 3+4 for manual back turn, and then using the simplest version. You can do this multiple different ways. Again, the rabbit hole is deep with this one. But if you do the basic version, you just go into manual back turn like this, and then you hold down back to create this, you know, evasive sway, where you're also ducking out. This is like a universal option that all characters have when they're back turned, but with Lei, it's just super fast. I mean, look at how much space he creates if I do it properly here. Like, if you can get really quick with this, you can see I'm doing it the wrong way. I just turn... This is like the wrong way. If you just turn around normally like that, you need to do like the ducking version to get a bunch of space like that. Look at how much space that creates. That is like insanity. It's really quite cool. And there are other versions of this technique where you create different amounts of space at different speeds. I suppose that they are safe in different ways as well. It's just really fascinating. And I mean, getting good at this version of it is probably much easier than, if you're a new player, than learning like a Korean backdash cancel, you know, the normal way, especially on a backsway character. But, you know, insanity. Absolute insanity. What else? Yeah, the running move seems amazing. I love this thing. Check this out. +8 on block. It doesn't push away far enough that you're, like, useless and can't mix them up. So you get to capitalize on your +8. It's going to break floors and give you wall splats. What a fantastic running move. I love this. I would love to have this on any of my characters. I think it's amazing. That's the Power Crush, more or less. He has a couple, or at least one more, but I think this is the good one, 442. Mid, punishable. But wall splat tool, so that's great. I mean, the next thing I need to do if I'm going to start learning about this character, if I'm going to do that seriously, I mean, you guys know everything. So fill me in the comments, give me tips and tricks on how to work with this character. This is another signature move, of course. If you stay back turn, you can do, you know, certain combos. I think you're supposed to do, like, delayed jumping hop kicks here. Like, something like that, maybe. I mean, I'm not here to practice combos right now, but that's another cool move, and you can, like, you know, not go into back turn and go into back turn, and, you know, you have to, like, be on your toes with what you want to do with the move. What else? There's some other cool things I was looking at. I mean, there's so much. Holy shit, this is a big move list. But I think the next step for me would be, like, actually learning about all the different stances and the mix-up options out of them, which is going to take a lot of time. It's all here in this fantastic written guide, so I'm probably going to be sitting here for a couple of hours. But I'm probably going to have to do that on my own, because there's going to be a lot of silence and a lot of thinking. But let's try a couple of combos before we wrap this up. Like I said, I don't really know how to combo, but I've seen this character combo online, so I think I know the basics of how it goes. I think the standard option is like, you know, this into forward 3-1, and then you do that for back turn and then spin like this. So let's try that. Kind of like this, right? And then, yeah, and that gives you pretty good good wall carry as well. The thing about the 4-4-3 that I found that I really love about this, I mean, seriously good for an ender, is the fact that it is 4-4-3, but it's also while running 3. And that just means that you can do it super late. Normally when you do a forward input move for a combo ender in this game, you have to like dash, stop, go back to neutral, and then do the forward input. Otherwise you're accidentally going to start getting running moves. But with this it doesn't matter, because it's your running move as well as the forward move. So super easy to use. You can delay it hella late to get a very good combo ender with this. So yeah, I guess you do this off of the hop kick in most of your launchers. Yeah, easy to do, fun to do. Yeah, it's really funny, fun to combo with this character. I actually really like that. I like that a lot. And then the Cyclone Kick combo. I mean, they write that you're supposed to do that for filler, so I guess this. Okay, that's not it. There we go. So that's 51 plus 16. Yeah, that is massive. This Cyclone Kick, by the way, really reminds me of Miguel's back 3. It's very similar, you know. You get plus frames on hit or block and Savage with Miguel. With Lei, you just get the back turn stance, but they're both in like a comfortable mix-up stance that they use, right? Similar animation, I think. Miguel probably impacts a bit faster, but I think this has sort of better range, and you have the option of doing multiples, right? But the thing I really love about this Cyclone Kick combo, I was thinking about how, you know, when you're sidestepping and taking and you launch your opponent like that angle, and you know that if you start doing your filler hits and your spin moves or your combo, they might just whiff because of the angle. And then you're like doing moves like an asshole, but your opponent's already standing behind of you and is going to launch you, you know, for dropping your combo. But with this, like even when you're at an angle, if you just do this, look at that. That's 45 plus 16. So you're doing high damage serious combos that are super consistent, but there are so few hits in them that this is like, as long as you can get the 3, you can always get this combo. So it's going to be like great. I mean, look at that. From like any angle, it's going to work just fine. I think that's fantastic. So I think this character really loves sidestepping, and I think what you want to do is like sidestep down for 2. He has sidestep 4, which is like another crazy mid sidestep launcher. I wonder if this is how bad it is on block. -8, so it's safe. Okay, maybe this is what you do. Can you get the 3 here? Oh, you can. Wow, okay. Yeah, I kind of love this. This is really interesting. Okay, the combo game seems like it's a lot of fun, but then, I mean, if you want to do well with this character, it's going to be all about all of these crazy stance transitions and lying on the ground and learning how to break dance and all the rest of it. So, yeah, this thing as well. This is a normal hit launcher. It's like an orbital that hits from like full screen. Super interesting. Yeah, I can see that being seriously good, honestly. I don't know why I haven't seen more people use that. Maybe it's like super dangerous when it gets stepped. I don't know. What else? Anything else we have to talk about? I mean, I'm just kind of having a lot of fun exploring this character. He's so unique and interesting, but he feels super Tekken. It's not like the weirdness you have with these 2D characters where they just feel like they're, you know, they don't belong. He feels super Tekken-y. It's just a lot of strangeness. And I guess he's one of those characters where, you know, Era said it very well. You don't want them to be like super good and super high tier, because if you're going to be this trolly and evasive and super strong, like tier list wise, it just becomes like a nightmare for all the opponents. So maybe that's why he's like not a super high tier character in this game, but some people just love him. I totally get that now. So yeah, I'm going to be sitting here learning a little bit more. I hope you enjoyed this little video and you agree that this character is cool. I'll see you guys again very soon. Thank you so much for watching.